Welcome back to the Throttle Up Podcast. This week we've got Chris Carter and Justin Hawkins on this week, promoters of Moberly Motorsports Park and Callaway Raceway, respectfully. You two have kind of a long history in racing, and now you both are now track promoters, team promoter or team manager as well,
Yep.
and racer as well still. So we have a lot of roles that are right here as well, and you two are now working together on kind of like co-promoting. So what has that like been, now starting to promote both Callaway Raceway and Moberly Motorsports Park?
I'd say challenging in its ways, but I think it's been exciting. Just hearing everybody out there in the community, whether it's from Moberly, Fulton, Holt Summit area, just this is what everybody seems like they really want is, two tracks, a few tracks working together versus, working against. So I've heard nothing but everything that we heard is just positive about this relationship.
Yeah, same thing. I've heard several people, thanking us for working together, trying to make it better for everybody, trying to keep the local guys local, basically.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Give them places to race on Friday, Saturday night where they don't have to travel 2 or 3 hours away to race.
Exactly. And when tracks work together, it makes both tracks good because people want consistency. And when races are broken up quite a bit, you kind of lose the fan base. So whenever you have two tracks that are working together, it kind of helps each other out to kind of keep the engagement up.
Yeah.
So let's start at the very beginning. What got y'all into racing? First, let's start with you, Justin. What got you into racing?
I would say pretty much it was just en routes. I talked to a lot of people I've talked to, whether it's the drivers' meetings at the mall when we was there. It's in my roots. My great uncle was Dean Marr. Actually built the original Capital Speedway that a lot of us know of in Holt Summit. So just having those roots embedded in me. My great uncle and pretty much my uncle, which is / my father, Scotty Payne, is the next to that. A lot of people in this area know Scotty Payne, know Scotty from racing at Capital Speedway. So I grew up going to Capital Speedway there in Holt Summit as well. Just watching my uncle, watching Jamie Carter, watching Howard Hall and Roger Mosher and Sammy Swindell and the Capital Speedway. A lot of the greats came through there. So it literally, that's where I spent my weekends and my childhood life was there. It wasn't a choice. I had family who raced and my parents raced. So
Absolutely.
that's kind of how I got started.
Awesome.
Mine's a little different. My dad was helping some teams back when I was younger. He helped Johnny Stevens. He helped Ed Knable. He helped Lawson Leonard. Some of the guys that run around here back in the 70s and 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Helped a little bit with Hoover, Ronnie Hoover and stuff. So that got me started into it. Then after I grew up a little bit and was going to races like Justin at Capital Speedway and just expanded from there. Then started helping on cars and just continued on.
Absolutely. All right. So after all the growing up and being in the racing world, so you two would both have history in racing that is crazy once you guys got a little bit older. So Chris, talk about when you first started getting into racing back in like the early 2000s.
So back when I got into racing, like I said, my uncle was racing again. Scotty went off and on. So he raced for Capital Speedway back in the 90s, 80s, raced street stocks, raced modified. And then he left and joined the NASCAR tour. So when he came back, took me on, started racing again. Basically, I thought, like some other probably racing kids out there, Halls, and everybody that had kids, I thought, my uncle's Scotty Payne. I'm going to come out here and everything's going to work. I'm going to be top 5. I'm going to have all the popularity and I'm going to race and he's going to help me and he's going to give me all the answers and that definitely didn't happen. So I knew that I wanted to race and I knew I wanted to get into modifieds because that's what he was in and could help me with. But I said my expectation was that he was going to help me a lot. So my first year too was just showing up to the track. I think, I had my buddies, cousins, and I think we may have tightened the nuts and bolts, and that's about it. There was no setup changes. It was just, it was just showing up, and we go race Friday night. 21 years old, have a couple beverages out afterwards. Show up the next Thursday, Friday, make sure things are, like I said, maybe tightened. I don't want to even make myself sound too bad, but there were some funny stories that we definitely had going on back then at 21 trying to race. But that's why I just thought he was going to help me, and I would tag along with him. So
yeah, I think everyone when they first get into racing, well, me as a first generation racer, I was like, yeah, I'll just get in there and I'll go win my first night out and just be dominant. And it's like, no. And I have similar stories of where maybe the nuts and bolts were checked. The first 3 years I raced a Hornet, I had a broken left rear shock, and I just didn't care. Like, everyone would be like, your left rear is bouncing up and down. And I'm just like, yeah, it does that. It's okay.
Yeah. We was late one night getting to the track because we couldn't find the lug nuts at that time. I didn't believe in spare this, spare that, not even an extra spare 5 lug nuts. So we couldn't find the lug nuts to put on the wheel. We're like, where's that? I'm asking my cousin. I'm like, we got to go. Where's the lug nuts to put this wheel on? And he just happened to kind of finally pull the wheel off, and somebody had put the lug nuts all the way on the studs, and so they were there the whole time. Ended up getting the wheel on there, rushing to the track, and probably spinning out. I used to moon pie that official back then. He was the head official. He used to call me 360 because I did small 360s versus drive all the way around the track. So my uncle used to get frustrated because I was normally spinning out, and he was just as he was getting ready to check out, I was spinning out, causing a caution. So it was just kids having fun at that time.
Absolutely. Yeah. So how did your racing career kind of grow up as you grew up?
I started when I was 15 years old. I was helping Mike Crump at the time. He owned the car Vic Bentley's was driving.
Okay.
So I started with him. I didn't even have a driver's license. He would come pick me up, take me out there, work on the car, take me home. His mom and dad were like my second parents. So I spent a lot of time in the shop with him, Chet McNee, and some of the other guys that helped us, through the years. Got to the point where my brother started racing. Well, I helped another guy in between there, Brian Phillips. I helped him for a while, but then my brother started racing, and I jumped on board with him, and we went for several years, had some pretty good luck, and just kind of been going on since then. I, went back and helped Mike and Reed some, and then 2018, I think that's when I took over taking care of the car for Reed and maintenance in it and getting it to him from the track and all that kind of stuff. So
there you go.
But yeah, I mean, back when me and my brother were racing, I mean, it was about like just, we didn't know what we were doing, but we were out there having fun.
Yeah.
Howard Hall told me one night, he said, Jamie, if you slow down some, you go a lot faster. And he did.
Yep.
And he started going faster. So
yeah.
And it was pretty, we raced go-karts. Me and my brother raced go-karts before that. I mean, it's been in my blood since I was young.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. When I first started racing career stocks, people were like, you got to change out this spring and that spring. I'm like, I'm still trying to figure out how to change the spark plugs. What do you mean? Like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
So, I definitely relate on that front. But yeah, mid-2000s, you kind of stopped racing, and you started working for Reed. During that time, I know Carl Edwards came back and he drove for Reed at I-44. And were you there when he was racing?
Yeah.
So what was that experience like working with a NASCAR Cup Series driver at the time, pretty much?
It was exciting. I mean, of course, you got all the people come down and stand around the trailer watching him,
Yep.
So we had a good time with that. We did a lot of publicity shots before that. Like at that time, Mike Kehoe owned a Ford dealership there in town. So we went down and took the car down there and had the car wrapped as the Home Depot car at the time. Took it down there and did some shooting, shots down there and stuff like that. And then, he come him not being out of the dirt world for a while, when he did that, he would go ask other drivers, questions and just trying to get information to make us better. Because we were trying to adjust it the way we normally adjust it for our normal driver, and he wanted something a little bit different, so we was trying to work together. But all in all, it worked out pretty good. I mean, I don't think the night at I-44 we had the best night. But he drove for us again when they was in Kansas, when we raced Lakeside the night before they raced Kansas.
Yeah.
And was running really good, probably a top 5 car, possibly the winning car. And the track was extremely heavy that night, and he ran out of tear-offs and pulled in, and was probably the best night we probably going to win that night. And he was, everybody else running around the bottom, he was up on top and just ran out of tear-offs on it. And they went green to checker and didn't have no stop to put tear-offs on.
Dang.
So,
yeah.
But that night, there again, all the fans were there. Jack Roush even showed up that night. That's when he was driving for Jack. And
yeah.
So, helping Reed, you get to meet a lot of interesting people. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. There's quite a few people that go through Reed's shop or goes through just talking to Reed as well.
He don't know a stranger. That's for sure. I mean, he knows no stranger. One year we were racing a Wild West Shootout at Casa Grande. 2:30 in the morning, we walk in the country kitchen. He knows somebody sitting at the table. Like, how in the world do you know people out here?
Yeah.
But that's just the way he is. I mean, it's his business.
Absolutely. I've seen him. So I used to work at CC City Broiler here in town, and he'd come in and he knows everyone. It's what's going on right now? Like, oh yeah, I know Reed. Oh, how do you know Reed? What's going on here? So yeah, Reed's definitely an interesting guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so now we come to 2020s, post-COVID, pretty much. So you're helping out Reed, and Reed decides he's going to buy Moberly Motorsports Park.
Unbeknown to any of us, we were racing Wheatland that weekend.
Okay.
Down there, had the cars all loaded. Reed shows up like he normally does in Suburban, still dressed in his work uniform, tie and stuff. He said, "I need y'all to come in the trailer for a minute. I got something to tell you." I was like going, "Uh-oh, what's going on here?" We go in there and he opens. We get in there and sit down. And he goes, "Well, I might have bought the racetrack today." We're going, "You bought what?" Just shocked everybody. There was only a few people that knew he was even talking to them.
Yeah.
And he come down the races and said, "Yeah, I bought Moberly Motorsports," or at that time it was
Randolph County
Raceway.
Yep.
He said, "I bought that today." Okay. He said, "We're going to rebrand it. We're going to work on it, build it up, and make it good again. I mean, make it, get it up to the standards it needs to be."
Yeah.
Which, we're slowly getting there. It takes a lot of time and money to do that. We've got a lot of good people to help us, but it just takes a lot of money to get that place back up to where it really needs to be.
Absolutely. So, and we have, Moberly Motorsports Park is a great racetrack. Like, it puts on great racing. It just needs the upgrades, which y'all have done an amazing job in the last 3 years.
We're working on it, yeah. This year we're working on putting our catch fence up.
Awesome.
We're working on getting that out around the corners, trying to get some big sprint car shows there. We bought a new sound system this year. We actually bought some of the speakers out for Old Field when they put them up for auction.
Okay.
So we got six of those speakers out for Old Field, which should be plenty loud.
Absolutely.
So
we experienced it. Yeah, we know what you mean.
Yeah. So,
absolutely.
But we're trying to build it as we can. Like I said, it takes a lot of time and money, and trying to do this and keep the funeral homes going, and stuff like that, and doing other stuff I do for Reed. It's it's a lot going on up there. So
absolutely,
we've got a lot of good people to help us out.
Yeah, absolutely. So 2023 hits for Moberly Motorsports Park. That's the first full-time year.
Yeah.
We have Trophy Tuesdays. What was the goal with Trophy Tuesday, and what was why did you choose Tuesday of all days?
Reed wanted a night that nobody else raced on, and we've seen some other tracks. He has seen some other tracks that raced on Tuesday or Wednesday nights, because we didn't want to compete with the other surrounding tracks. We were the new guys on the block. Yeah. We didn't want to ruffle feathers. In case we won. We needed some help or something. We want to be able to reach out and somebody be not mad at us. So we we Reed chose the Tuesday night. They put that series together just to give the local guys somewhere else to go, just to go out and have fun. Not a national points chasing or anything like that. Just to get the fun back in the sport.
Absolutely.
So Reed's all about having fun. He, as you've seen with the Wiener Nationals, it's a one of a kind event.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah, that was our first full year. That's the reason he kind of chose Tuesday night, because he didn't want to step on Callaway's toes. He didn't want to step on the Lake's toes. He wanted to take his lumps just like the new guy on the block, and he's just to get our feet wet and make sure that everything's going to work, and figure out what people we need to put what places to make it all good. So
absolutely. And whenever so I was helping out Josh Calvert that year. Josh Calvert was helping out me. So with that, I was racing mostly on the weekends. He wanted to go race Tuesday nights and chase that championship. Yeah. So it gave us a great opportunity to kind of work on my stuff on certain days, work on his stuff on certain days. So it didn't take away anything from the racing world, in my opinion. It really just added to it, and that was really awesome to see at the time.
We always had a fairly decent car count for a Tuesday night. You average 60 to 70 cars on Tuesday night. That's pretty good show.
Yeah.
There's some tracks that make not much more than that on a weekend. This grandstands, it was a little bit harder on the grandstand side, just for the kids and stuff like that. But we always tried to get in there, get it done, and be out there by 9:30 at night.
Yeah.
Try to get people home in a decent hour. We didn't want to keep them there to 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night, So we kind of pushed the show through, and it got to the point this year where we just said, let's try doing something a little bit different. And that's why we decided to change to Saturday nights.
Yeah. And I think the racing world has also changed since then. Back when the Trophy Tuesdays first started, it was Callaway Friday night, the Lake race pretty much every Saturday night, and then you had Double X on Sunday. Yeah. So the only place to go was Tuesday. So now it's kind of changed where the Lake is not really racing that many weekly shows. No. So now to replace that, you've got Moberly coming in on Saturdays.
Yeah. And Wheatland there again, I haven't really seen their schedule down Lucasville, but I don't know that they're really doing a weekly show program. They're doing a shootout series basically, but I don't think it's like a full field weekly program like they've done in the past.
Yeah.
So it just gives people another option to run on a Saturday night to try to stay, especially this year with the fuel the way it's getting right now.
Oh yeah.
Try to keep them a little bit closer to home where they don't have to travel as much, and just try to help everybody out.
Absolutely.
Make it a little bit, have some fun with it.
For sure. So. Absolutely. So in 2024, Justin, you started racing because I remember you reached out to me or in some way. I can't remember exactly. And we started talking. I think it was after the iRacing League.
Yep, iRacing League.
And so we kind of got talking. What made you want to come back into the sport, and also the iRacing stuff? Like, did that kind of help you get the car?
So, kind of like I kind of thought about it earlier when Chris mentioned Brian Phillips too. Like I said, I couldn't ever find myself away from racing. As a child, before I was even 16, I was helping Brian Phillips, Jamie, and that's how I got to know Chris and stuff like that was through. So, again, like I said, that whole period of time when I quit racing, I had my first son, my oldest son, is now 19. I had him, and I just really wanted to focus on being a good father, being the parent, being there for my son, and raising him. And, as Chris, we all know, racing takes, takes, almost every day. It's a lot of time. We live week to week. We live from Friday to Friday, Saturday to Saturday, weekend to weekend. So it's just, I didn't want to, so I wanted to focus on my son. But throughout that whole time, one of my great friends, Kurt Turpin, related to Jumpin' Jimmy Turpin, got one of stuff from Capital Speedway there. I'd helped him on and off, would help some other people off and on. I never really, Kurt always raced pure stock, liked to race California. So I always never really got out of the racing scene, which is hard for some people that get out of racing, a lot of times you won't find them back at a racetrack too often because it's so hard not to get back. So I played that every year of, man, I want to race again. And I'd get to the end of the year and I'd start looking at cars, and I'd get on Facebook and look at cars and, talk myself out of it. And then, as you know, like I said, started racing. It was probably 2020. I think we started the year of 23, maybe 22. Well, it's COVID. Right about COVID, you and I think we really started our iRacing. And I was, you was on there. My talents kind of showed on there, and I
360 come out.
I could drive a pure stock on iRacing, and I'm one of the top in the world. It goes. They different classes, and so all my little buddies on there. I should get a car. And I talked about it, and then finally, I started helping actually Tyler Crocker and Joey Potter and them in California, and Tyler ended up having a deal on a car, and I just jumped and said, my youngest son, my youngest boy, he likes racing. His dad, I want to get a go-kart. Dad, I want to get into racing. So talked with the family, and the family said that's what they were for it. And so then I called my uncle and said, I want to get back into racing, and I want to learn from you. I mean, my uncle is, like I said, Chris and a lot of people out here. He was one of the best. He won several track championships at Capital Speedway. He won track championships at Callaway. He was one of the best around here. And I didn't want to let that go to waste. And I thought, here I am. I'm older. I'm mature. I can take this more serious, start this as a business, start Hawkins Motorsports, and try to get myself into driving, my son into driving. Who knows from there? So my uncle said he was in, because I wasn't probably going to get back into it without him. And I will say that I had to call my aunt. So like I said, my aunt and uncle raised me from 10 on, so I had to call my aunt first and say, hey, would it be all right if I take your husband? Because she lived it. She lived the racing life. She met him at the racetrack. She lived with him, so she knows what it's like. And I said, can I take your husband again for a little bit? I asked for 2 years, and said I'd like to get 2 years of just learning from him and learning what I can, and him helping me and working on the car. So we're going on 3 years now. The first year he helped me quite a bit. I stayed with him, didn't go to the race unless I had him with me and he could be there. So I missed out on some racing a little bit my first year, but then the second year, picked up on some new things there. So, but that was just not getting away from it. Not getting away from it. It was inevitable that if you don't get away from the track, you will be back in the car.
Yep, 100%.
So that,
yeah.
So
exactly. So, and with me, I'm like, well, I'm not going to get back into dirt racing. Like, it's just, it may be something down the line. And then a buddy of mine calls me up and he goes, or he's texting me. He's like, yeah, like trying to get into racing. I'm just like, screw it. I'll buy a car. I'll help you out. I'm going to help out people at the racetrack anyway. Might as well make it a rental thing. So
I'm so glad you're back in. I'm glad you're back.
So we'll be back.
I want to watch you. I'm glad. So
absolutely. Well, it's only gonna be one race in the car, but definitely gonna help out some other drivers, and that's my passion. And well, I'd say I have just as much fun helping out people at the racetrack than I do actually racing.
I can honestly say I've only drove the late model once, and the modified once. That was a mechanics race in the mid '90s with Jamie, and then when Capital Speedway closed down,
I was just going to ask.
Randy Martin and Reed rented the racetrack for a day. Right after they closed it down, we went out there for a fun day. I drove it for a few laps there, and that's the only time I've ever driven one of the cars. I just enjoy working on them.
Yeah.
Learning more, especially now that where the technology's at with them, and so much has changed since we run the leaf springs car back in the day. Now we're, running all these shocks and different stuff, and I mean it's just a completely different world.
Yeah.
But it's fun to work on them.
Absolutely. And my most fun thing to do personally as a driver, or just a driver who's experienced dirt, I'm pretty good on iRacing, I guess. I don't know. So, but it's my favorite thing is to kind of go watch a race, because I can watch the race, understand what the car is doing, and then I can go run to my buddies that are in staging and go, this is what's happening to the track, this is what you need to do. and then to see them actually go and do it is
Yeah.
most rewarding thing,
Oh, yeah.
even better than actually being in the car. So
I can say that I've been sitting there and staging and seen Trent, and it was like, vroom, vroom, that one night, like trying to get you, and it's like, come over, what's it like, because I mean, when you're sitting and staging, everybody, that track, it can change.
yes,
Every lap changes, every race changes, so you're sitting there, you done looked at the track maybe a couple races before that, you walked away the race before, you looked, said, okay, this is what's going to do, you go, you get ready, you come up to staging, so you got a good, sometimes 8, depends, a feature in front of you, so when you do that, yeah, that is tremendous to don't let everybody know that we do that.
Well,
not me.
So yeah, Callaway, everyone goes to the top no matter what. So in hot laps, if it's soupy, everyone will go to the top, it'll migrate to the top, and then once the bottom comes in, the bottom is there.
Yeah.
So, and you're just kind of waiting, when is it going to come in? When is it coming in? When is someone going to be a little bit faster? And whenever it does, then it's like, oh, I got to let some people know that, so then my buddies can get some places in this next race. Because you don't want to go early on the bottom, because you're just going to slide up and wreck yourself or fall back. So
it's interesting you say that, because it will be different this year.
Oh, hey,
it will be different.
Let's go into that. So over the off season, Callaway promoters kind of, I'm not going to speak for them. I'm good friends with them still. They kind of backed out, and you guys kind of took over the Speedway.
Yeah.
Which I didn't even know who was taking over the Speedway until Justin calls me and he goes, hey, by the way, he goes, you know how you said like the posts are really good? And I'm like, yeah, it's been very transparent. I love how the Speedway is kind of presenting itself. And you're like, yeah, it's me. And I'm like, oh my God, let's go. So what has that process been like? What made you want to kind of take on that role? And how has it been?
Well, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say that, definitely somebody would want to take this on, because it is crazy.
It's a completely different side of racing.
Completely different side of racing. Basically, the previous promoters, like I said, friends with as well and stuff, and the track was looking like it was, they wanted to move on. One of them races himself and knows what it takes to race, so they just wanted to move on and have that time, and it was looking like the track was not going to be a track no more. Yeah, that was where we were facing, and actually one of the guys, Jake Crocker, who I've made friends with on the track, Jake and I both started back up racing. Jake actually raced previously. His father had some helpings in on the track back in the day, so I talked with him a little bit. He had ties with Sonny Atterbury, and just kind of shared with him some of the things that I thought, we bring racing back. Where I think, really at that pivotal point. So I just kind of talked to him about some things that I thought would help bring racing back. Not necessarily just Callaway. It was just overall racing as a sport, and I saw some things that we really needed to go back to the roots, and Jake kind of agreed to that, and he took on, worked with Sonny and Betty, to get the contract, and then asked me, if I wanted to ride along. He said a lot of the ideas that we had, he enjoyed, he liked my approach and how I wanted to do things, and so he asked if I would go ahead and help him promote and direct and get Callaway rebranded and back on its feet. So That's kind of where, it wasn't real. Like I said, I wanted to definitely jump back into racing, but I've really honestly put things aside, to do this and to make this track work, not only for all the drivers and people out there, but kids. Yeah. They're the future. My son wants to race, and if the track isn't open in there, then he can't race, and any other kid out there can't race that comes there and in hopes and dreams to do the same thing like I did when I was a kid. Absolutely. So that's why I thought, let's do this.
For sure. So that brings us on to something else with the kids. So Something that I've seen I-44 do really well in the last couple of years has been really bring on the kids side of it and kind of get them involved. So how are your two tracks doing that? I'll start with Chris. How is your track kind of starting with the kids and kind of, or not focusing on the kids, but focusing on the fans as well?
Yeah. Last year we started, we just started the 50-50 up last year at the track. And with the kids all being there and not having anything to do, I said, let's do the 50-50 and let's make it so we buy some playground equipment for the kids. You give them something to do, because Capital Speedway, we always had the slide that looked like a rocket ship out there, and the swing sets with no swings on. We raced around and stuff like that. And I said, let's get the kids something to do, and then we started our souvenir stand, had some souvenirs and stuff in there for them. Just trying to get the family atmosphere back to the racetrack, kind of like Justin said. We want the kids there to, like Justin said, to get them back into the sport. Because unfortunately, some of the kids are too gamey now. They're wanting to play games all the time, not getting outside and stuff like that. So trying to help them get back outside. If you get the kids involved, then you're going to get the parents involved, and they're going to tell friends, and they're going to come and get involved. It's just going to help everything grow.
Yeah,
so,
100%.
So it all kind of starts with the kids, and Lucy's doing some stuff with the kids corner this year. She's been doing that for us since the get go. She gives away little stuff and everything during the intermission or whatever. The coloring pages, we kind of started that last year. Justin's doing something this year, I think. We had a thing out at the mall this year where we did a drawing for I had two little pullback arcs, just something that the kids get, and they really enjoyed that. Just it all starts with the kids. If you keep them involved and happy, the parents, that's going to give the parents a little break from them. They know they're going to be safe at the racetrack. There's nobody around there to do that stuff, and so it's we're just trying to. I think Brooke a couple of years ago, and I'll probably get back to it this year, had the junior flagman.
Yeah.
Which our flag stand's a little bit different than Callaway's. It's pretty easy to get up on, so they can come up there. He's got a little step for them, and they can throw the green flag.
Awesome.
Little stuff like that. We're just trying to build it back up and get everybody where they're having fun again.
Absolutely. So now to you, Justin. With obviously you got a lot of stuff going on with bringing the track back. When you do improvements to the track, how are you kind of tackling that? Also with bringing a track to life.
Jake. So like I said, Jake Crocker, the co-partner here, he was around where the track was originally built, and his dad, like I said, originally kind of helped. So really been kind of leaning on him there, and that he'll handle some of that track stuff. I've had actually some of Jamie Carter and some others come out and look at the track and put eyes on it, get opinions. I feel like, one of the things I really felt was listening to the crowd. When I first started doing this, one of the first things I went into was damage control. Why is this not working? What is it not working? What's not working about this? What are the people not coming for? Why are they not showing? So I put out some polls and really just try to see what was the cause of nobody in the crowd. And one of the big things, I said, kids, as we both mentioned, and Capital Speedway was a minion factory for kids, and I wouldn't be in racing if there was nothing there for me to do while my parents, I wouldn't be here. Just trying to maintain that. And, to be honest, Chris sitting here next to me we've been in it, since some day ago. Some of the phone calls I made when I said I was going to do this was to his brother, to Bob Tess, some of these great people that have done this before. I can't do this without the people. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing that I realized in this, and I think some others don't, is if you stay closed-minded and you only think that, I try to do it all or things like that, you can't. It's too much. There is way too much involved in this thing to try to do it all. You have to trust in people that they're going to help you and their opinion. So really, Chris has been a mentor. I mean, I will say that. I know I've been meaning to tell him before. He's been a mentor to me, because when I need to know what to do or how to do it, or questions, or something like that, I go to him and ask him what to do. We talk almost every day, So just those relationships, still continue to build on those friendships and relationships that I've built, over the years. So I think that's what I've focused on.
Absolutely. So with that, you bring back Callaway Raceway. And Callaway Raceway, the thing is, it got good car counts. It had a kind of loyal base that was there every single week. But everyone knew what the problems were with the track, and you addressed those. First off, damage control, like you said.
Yeah.
And the first things you said was, "This is what we're working on. We're going to do better on this." And that was what was really good about those first initial posts and first initial coming together. With that, though, the Hornet class kind of went away from Callaway Raceway. Obviously, Moberly's kept that kind of alive in this area. What was the kind of purpose of bringing back the Hornet class?
So when I, like I said, got with Chris and just Lucy, I wanted to talk to Lucy about our kids program, and just because I felt that was one of the places that Callaway was lacking. I shouldn't say like, but just the kids there. We need to get something. So I wanted to talk to Lucy, see what she was doing, what they were doing up in Moberly, and then that's who kind of, hey, are you all going to run Hornets? And it was just big on the top. Everybody's, are you going to run Hornets? Are you going to run Hornets? Jake and I, from the beginning, we want to provide a racetrack for people. That was our biggest goal. Taking this on was so it didn't shut down, and provide a racetrack to people. We don't want to turn people down. So we thought, let's bring the Hornets back. Let's bring them back with a good rule class that works well with Moberly. And it's also a starter class. Mm-hmm. People got to understand, when we started bringing Hornets into the racing, I don't know how, I can't, remember how long ago it was, but Brooke, my flagman's probably going to kick me for that in the butt for that one. But because he used to, when we go back to when Hornets started, it was a beginner class. It was a class for people to get into the racing, feel it out, didn't have this low budget, didn't have to spend a bunch of money. You had kids starting out in that class, so it was like I wanted to bring the Hornets back to Callaway to provide a junior. My goal, and I talked with Lucy, and we battled. We went through meetings, and we had a meeting on this, and we had rules out and took them back. And thank you everyone who's been with us on that one. But we wanted to provide a class that was good for both areas, would be good to bring a kid into, make a parent feel comfortable bringing their kid into that class. Made some changes, seen some things happen last year, so made some changes for safety, things like that. So we just felt if you want to bring kids back, bring the starting back, we got to go back to the basics. And get them in. We got to have the basic class if we want to have them start here. So.
And absolutely. I mean, I've run both pure stocks and Hornets. Hornets, they're a car that a lot of the drivers, not a lot of the drivers, I would say probably less than half, will keep their car on the trailer some weeks, because it's just, you don't really need to work on them too much. And they can be competitive even with not a whole lot of work. Sure. So it's about half the price of running a pure stock. It's way less than half if you're just trying to get into it. Me and my buddy, we're talking about getting him into racing. And I was like, well, I got a spare $2,000. Let's see what's out there. Yeah. And we decided this on a Thursday, and a Friday night we picked up the car. Awesome. So there is cars out there for cheap prices and something to get you in the door and to start learning.
Yes.
If I started a pure stock, I would have probably quit. So I think it's great that the Hornet class is back. And also, it only adds to the track, in my personal opinion, because based on, I think it's Callaway's our money fund, it's like $850 for the top 10. Yeah. Well, if the top 10 bring a crew member, you've paid for the class. Mm-hmm. So if they bring fans in the stands, it only adds to the track. And also, Hornets usually run last, and I liked it when it was that way because my car was clean when I went home. Yeah. So in my opinion, it only adds to the class. So the diehard fans are going to stay for the Hornet class.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to make money off them no matter what, really.
Mm-hmm. They help support the other classes for sure.
Absolutely. And then it gives a driver an opportunity to drive something budget to kind of move up in the future.
Yeah.
So
Correct.
thank you for bringing that class back. I want to touch on that because I think Hornets are one class that promoters, they don't want to have. I mean, Chris, you could probably say otherwise. You want to probably have
Well,
Hornets.
we enjoy them. I mean,
Yeah.
they're, like you said, they're between them and the B mods, they bring the most crew members and most fans to the racetrack.
Yep.
You know, and without people in the stands, you can't make a racetrack go.
Exactly.
You know, so we enjoy the Hornets. I mean,
Yeah.
not saying we enjoy making money off them. We enjoy them being there and racing and putting on a good show because a lot of times those guys are sliding each other and passing each other, and
Yeah.
you know they put on a pretty good show sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
they don't.
That is
They've
true.
been
That is
fun.
true.
It's been, like I said, it's been because Chris was when we had the rules meeting, and we sat at the VFW in Fulton from 6:30 to almost
11.
midnight. It was 11 o'clock,
Mhm.
6:30 to 11 o'clock at night,
Yeah.
discussing the rules, and didn't have nothing.
We thought
that whole time we had nothing.
We thought the best thing to do was let the drivers have their opinion.
Mhm.
You know, we set the rules of what we thought would be a good rule package for everybody. We brought them all together and said, "Hey, this is what we're proposing. What do y'all think?" Well, that didn't end up to a 5-hour discussion, and then we changed it after that.
Man, it still
Absolutely.
changed it.
And the thing is, with the Hornet class, whenever you get a new driver involved, they bring people that a regular driver is not going to bring.
Yeah.
Even though the regular driver is still going to bring family, still going to bring people, they're not going to bring. I mean, my first Hornet race, I think 15 people showed up just to watch me
Yeah.
go wreck in a heat race.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
they bring
And
them,
then now I'll be lucky if 10 people come down to a race. So, yeah, it's pretty awesome that we have the Hornet class back at Callaway and kind of helping each other to try to get that car count up.
Yep.
So, what are your thoughts on like the other classes involved? I know you guys kind of went away from super stocks in the past few years because of low car count.
Yeah.
And what was the reason that you had Midwest mods, late models, A mods kind of swapping on the late model and A mod side? What were the choices in the classes for both tracks?
I think again, this is another one that we was just like, we wanted to be on the same page. I wanted to work. What was he going to have? What was I going to have? Jake and I again didn't want to turn people down. We wanted to provide. I mean, I don't care if they come from St. Louis. We want people to come down and race. So it's just, as I told everybody, this would be a transition year.
Mm-hmm.
When you take over a track, I knew it wouldn't be ideal to go out here and change everything. Everybody was committed to Power I. They had a lot of Power I. That rule set's kind of around this local area. So everybody's already doing that rule package. And I was like, I can't take this away. I can't take the Midwest mods away. Can't take this rule, So it was like, let's just go with what we have. Use this as a transition year. We'll bring the Hornets back and use this as a transition, as a growing year. And see throughout the year, talk with the driver. The biggest thing I think is talking with your drivers. I can't imagine why people don't do that in the past, but they used to do it before. I shouldn't say that we got away from that. We used to do it before. Talk to your drivers, and at the end of this year, I think we'll have something that best fits our area, Callaway, Moberly. We're hoping that we've talked with Double X at the mall, so we talked with them down there. But we would like to have something, that fits us. And, we don't want to change rules. I don't want to get down to the end of this year and have to depend on or worry about somebody else's rule change. And I think that was I should say, go back to, we talked earlier, another one of my biggest things for doing this is I kind of had to come apart when a few more tracks dropped from Power I. They talked about the LS motors. And I said, the hardest thing for a driver is rule changes at the end of the year versus trying to say, we're going to bring an LS motor and this is going to be cheaper for the drivers. It's not cheaper for people who race have been racing for 3, 4, 5, 10 years and have the other stuff. So what we wanted to do was provide rules that everybody feels comfortable. I can go get a car because I'm going to be able to race at Callaway and Moberly, not just this season,
Yes.
the next couple of seasons.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you say low budget racing.
Yep.
Yeah, modified costs a lot of money this year. But if I don't have to change a bunch of rules and buy a bunch of stuff for next year and the next year, now it becomes more affordable.
Absolutely.
So, and fun.
And I mean, NASCAR's president was on Door Bumper Clear this week, and he was talking. He said, "Yeah, we're going to think about doing a rule change next year, and we're already told the teams that, so then they know." And the fact that we have that on the national level, but on the local level, sometimes you'll be in October, and it's just like, well, now I got to spend $1,000 on parts to make my car legal next year.
Yeah.
So
Or more.
More, yeah.
I mean,
and there was a track. There's a track locally here. I can't remember exactly what it is, but they posted rules for 5 years. They said these are our rules for the next
That would be
5
awesome.
years.
That would be awesome.
That is what we're sticking to. If there needs to be a change based on supply chain or whatever, we'll make that change as necessary. But here's the rules for the next 5 years.
Yeah.
That's
So-
what we're looking. That's what I would like to. If there needs to be a change, I want it to be a safety. Like we look at Chris and then we go, hey man,
Yes.
for safety, we need to make this change. But ideally, at the end of this year, we'd like to stay with something of our own, but it won't be power. It'll be Callaway's rules,
Yeah.
and it'll be something that's in Moberly's rules and things that stay with us, so that people can race at Moberly and Callaway for the next. I'd like to see what that number is good. I mean, 5 years. That was the number that was in my head. Is
Yeah.
I want to provide a track for people to race at for the next 5 years.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And use the same equipment, unless it's a safety concern.
And something I think tracks should do as well is they should take like a sanctioning bodies, if they do run a different rule package, they should take like a sanctioning bodies rule package and say, okay, if your car is legal for X, this is what you need to change for us, or here's our differences for us.
we did that this year a little
Yep.
bit.
Absolutely.
We have where we're located more north of from what they are. I had some IMCA guys reach out to me.
Yes.
They said, "Well, we don't mind taking our spoilers off. We don't mind turning our chips down. We just hate buying 2 sets of tires and run one night a week."
Mm-hmm.
So I called several people outside the class, asked them, said, "What's the advantage or disadvantage of this tire versus the Hoosiers versus American Racers? Is there basically what's the biggest difference in
Yeah.
performance wise?"
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, the answers I got were, well, the Hoosiers are not as good of tires as what you're running now, so it's not a beneficial, performance issue or performance enhancer.
Yeah.
So that's why I put that post out that we're going to allow the IMCA in the B mod class. We're going to, because the A mods we run, IMCAs are not legal. I mean, there's so much difference. They run crate motors and stuff like that, where ours is a little bit more open on the A mods. But on the B mod class, we're going to allow these Hoosier G60s only. You can run those, but you still have to you still have to follow the rest of the rules.
Yeah.
You still got to take your spoiler off. You still got to turn your chip down, or so all the other rules are pretty much set in stone. The only difference is I'm going to let them run the G60s just to save money because, why run? If it's not going to help you, it's not going to. If somebody starts coming out there and starts winning, dominating every week with that tire, then yeah, I may look at it. But until somebody does that, it's not going to be that big of a deal.
Absolutely.
So that's why they're again trying to save money for the racers. And last year we on that saving money side, we asked the drivers, do you want to do? How do y'all want to do your program? Do you want to do hot laps, heat races, and features? Do you want to do hot lap qualifying and just your features? How do you? Everybody, the Hornets and the B mods, of course, they want to do heat races. The A mod guy said, we just want to run features. We'll line straight up off our qualifying, save our motors and stuff, because Moberly is a bigger track.
Oh, yeah.
So they said, we'll just run our qualifying, hot lap qualifying, and just go right into features, and we're happy with that. I had a couple guys say, well, I wish we had heat races just so we make changes, but the majority of the time it was, they were happy with just the feature race.
Absolutely.
So,
and the thing is, if you want a heat race, well, next night you're going to have a heat race at another track. So you can kind of, well, okay, it's a little bit of a change, so drivers can be like, okay, well, all right. So if I want a heat race, I can go somewhere else, but also still enjoy this.
And on Tuesday nights, we were trying to get the programs done a little bit faster.
Yes.
So that helped us out on the time frame. This year, being on Saturday nights, we'll probably run heat races for everybody if the car count's there.
Yes.
If we only get 8 cars in a class, there's no use running 4-car heat races.
Yep, 100%.
So there's no. So if we have the car count, we'll probably run heat races this year. If we don't, then we'll probably continue our hot lap qualifying, go right into your features, and stuff like that. But for 8 to 10 cars, it's not worth running 2 heat races.
Absolutely.
Burning tires up, burning motors up, fuel up.
Yeah.
So,
you might as well just run double features at that point. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
So from there, what special events are we having this year? I know Moberly is a little bit more special events oriented. It's a little bit more developed. Callaway, what's kind of the special events looking like this year? What's kind of going on with that, or is it kind of just focus on the weekly stuff and we'll announce as we come along?
We've got some stuff. We've got the I'm trying to think. I have my schedule in front of me. I've been working all day on this, but we've got a couple of shows coming up. We've got next week. We've got the late models from Heartland, not Heartland,
Four State
late models.
Yeah, trying to think of who it was. Not the Heartland series, but he's going to come. Bodie Gamble started this series. But so we got them coming next week.
Mm-hmm.
I know we got our big monster truck show. I don't know. So that's.
Yep.
I know it's not racing, but anybody who's been around Callaway County their life, we've never had a monster truck show in Callaway County, kind of like that. You have to typically go to St. Louis or Kansas City, some of the bigger areas to get a monster truck show. We got demo derby. We've got, like I said, there's lots of things in the work. I've really been trying to focus on week-to-week stuff right now, but we've got a 3-day show there at the end of the year that we're tossing some things that we were talking about. We're talking about doing an Enduro race. We're talking about maybe
I love those.
Crown Vic race.
Yes.
Hornet. We talk about these Hornet. Coming back to the Hornet guys. I really wanted to appreciate them a couple of times, so we've got a couple of shows out there for them. The night of the monster trucks, that we have them there. The Hornets have a show that night.
Okay.
We probably might have a show for them at the end of the year again. We've got, like I said, the late model series coming twice. I've got something else I'm trying to work on. Don't want to just kind of talked about it coming in the door, so we'll try to see. We'll keep that one. But like I said, the show thing was a tough one for me. It was a tough one for me this year. I really want to focus on our local, focus on this, and put Moberly or put Callaway back, on the map in a good note. And then I figured we would really have people start to pour in. So and they're pouring in already. So that's why I said we'll see what we can put out there for people. The crowd wants it.
Absolutely.
So we'll see what we can do.
For sure. And then, obviously, you got some special events this year.
Yeah, we got one Friday night.
Absolutely.
We got the Harley Modified Series coming in.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to run the B mods. I've worked with Justin on that. He's going to allow the B mods, but take them off the schedule for that, so they can come up and race with us in the Midwest mods. So we got that show. Then we got May 30th. We got the Harlan Late Model Series coming in.
Yeah.
That's a good race. And we got some 305 sprint car shows. I think we got 3 of those with Jerry Jenkins this year. He bought the Mocan Series and rebranded for the WOW Series from back in the day. So he's got 3 shows up there. We got the Wheater Nationals, of course, on Labor Day weekend.
Mm-hmm.
The following weekend, we got a 2-day ASCS 360 sprint car show.
There you go.
So that's exciting for us. And then we got our Moberly Madness race at the last race of the season we do every year for the 305s. That's one of Jerry's shows there. So, and then we've got some the Mid-Missouri, Central Missouri Mud Racers Association. They they lease the track from us and they do a
Yes.
dirt
Okay.
drags in the infield.
Yeah.
It's I've unfortunately never been to one of those shows because I've always had other stuff going on. When I had it, either out racing or something going on. But they come in, they have a series that they do locally here, and they got one of their races this year is like a national or regional race. So they've got guys coming from Louisiana, Texas, and all over the South coming up for that race. So, but yeah, we've got some specials, working on some other stuff for next year. So just trying to build it a little bit as we can.
Absolutely. So with the races coming up this weekend, Callaway's got their first race. Moberly's got their first race of the season. What are your expectations for Friday? Are you ready for Friday? And what are you thinking for Friday?
Like I said, there's been so much on my. Like I said, let me go back. I want to correct myself on Bodie. Ozark limited late models. So I want to make sure I say that for Bodie because he's been putting that outfit up out of kind of Nevada down there. But Ozark limited late models will be there 2 shows this year. So one coming up this month and one towards the end. So, but back to I think the biggest, are we ever ready? I don't know that as a promoters and track people runners that we're ever really ready.
Mm-hmm.
We're working on getting some of the finalizing things. As a new to this game, it's been a lot of new things for me. Timelines, getting things out there. I mean, people just don't kind of understand the full picture of certificates, inspections, contracts, insurance, and all those things. Personnel, so right now I think we are ready for Friday. Pending the rain holds off for us and allows us to do a show. It'll be fun, our first night, I think we're working on some things, just those last few little things, My Race Pass and things like that, both of us that's been one that's been on both of us is just the My Race Pass. We're trying to really do what we can for both of these tracks and utilize our resources as much as we can. So I'm learning My Race Pass as well to try to for us so we can utilize, be able to do save us money, put money back into the track. So I would say, minus a few little things that I'm trying to tweak out. If the weather holds off, we'll be ready for Friday night.
Awesome.
We'll be ready.
And Chris, how about you? Are you ready for Friday night?
We're getting there.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been fighting some weather issues this week. I mean, the past 2 days it's rained in the mornings up there, so I haven't been able to do any track work. Because with that banking on that track, you can't go out there when it's muddy. I mean, you'll be right back down at the bottom. So I've been trying to get some of the other stuff done. Get concessions ready, get the bathrooms ready, get the beer stand ready. Just trying to get all my ducks in a row, basically, that I can do while I'm waiting on the weather.
Absolutely.
So I talked to Eric Chesterman today from the Heartland Series. He's staying in pretty close contact with me, watching the weather too. I'm like Justin. I'm just hoping we get it in this weekend.
Yeah.
I think if we do, we'll have a good show. I mean, I think the Heartland Series guys have put on a hell of a show for us. You'll have some of the best modified guys in the Central region for sure there.
Yeah.
Local and national guys.
Absolutely. So they should be good shows to watch. Something that I have I've suggested a few times. I would love a driver from a class earlier in the night to get up into the booth, maybe a winner or something, and just talk with the announcer.
I actually spoke to my announcer today. He come up the racetrack. We just I told him, I said, we want to do some keep this. We want to keep the fans informed, keep them energized and stuff like that. I said, once we get our new sound system up, it'll be a lot easier for us. But right now our sound system's not the best in the world, but the one we're putting up is going to be pretty nice.
Yeah.
Get a wireless mic, go down, do the driver interview in the victory lane, or after get them up here during the intermission or something. I actually just talked to him about that today.
There you go.
Getting them back up in there. I've been talking to Ron Stallone about bringing back some of the old shots that they used to do back in the day. I'm going to go back to giving the driver a victory lap down the front straightaway carrying the checker flag after the heat races.
There you go.
I want to get the drivers and crews recognized.
Yeah.
I talked to him about doing I know we used to do it every year at Capital Speedway. At the beginning of the year, all the drivers bring their cars up, the crew will line up behind, they take a team shot, and I told them, I said, I'd like to bring that back.
Absolutely.
Get the guys that don't get the recognition all the time, that may be running towards the back or something. They put out the effort, but they just never win.
Mm-hmm.
Get them some recognition. Get them some pictures, some good pictures of their cars and stuff like that they can be proud of.
Yeah.
So like I said,
Absolutely.
let's get everybody back involved in the sport and stuff. But yeah, I did talk to my announcer today about doing driver interviews and just even track facility people interviews. I said Justin's going to be up there to do a score. Talk to him a little bit about Callaway. Or go down and talk to Brooke on Flagstand. Let him talk a little bit or something. Just get everybody a different view of what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Entertaining.
Well, and the thing is, when you see NASCAR races, about half the moments that are posted on social media are driver interviews. Yeah. So whenever you have that driver interaction, they're going to be shared. They're going to be also appreciated by the drivers as well. Yeah.
Well, it's entertainment.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I'm being on this side now. I'm starting to understand. It's entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
You, I, the drivers are there because that's our fix. That's what we like. That's our rush.
Mm-hmm.
But the fans, the moms, the grandmas, the cousins, the friends, like you said, 15 people that showed up. They get to see you when you're on the track racing. But outside of that, what are they watching? What are they there for? They might not know anybody else there. So it's about the entertainment. Like you said, we're doing the same thing, and I'm trying to work on Callaway's. We had a little sound session with Eli about a month ago where we adjusted some settings.
Yep.
And the sound stuff. So we're hoping that ours will be louder too. But that's definitely one thing. Just had a gentleman reach out to me who said that they were wanting to do this. But that's all. That's exactly where I was coming from too. Is just grab the drivers. Have a microphone. Be able to go down there, grab during intermission. Hey Trenton, how was the heat race? We've seen you. You did this. You blew a tire. What's your thoughts for the future? What is your plans for the rest of the night? The crowd want to know those things because again, it's not about just coming out there. They're big. I want that crowd interaction. So we are two at Callaway. You'll see that we'll see the same thing. Grab a Bob Tess is up there.
Yeah.
Howard Hall. Some of these old drivers. My uncle, he's ended up getting grabbed and go spend some time. They can either go up and talk with Doug Mealy in the booth, or if we can get a mic working, there's a couple up there. I'd like to do the same thing. So I think that's big is entertainment. And
yeah. Absolutely.
Putting out the people.
Even like the Wild West Shootout did a little bit of that this year. They had Billy Moyer on there doing some broadcasting.
Yes, I saw that.
So
yeah,
they're seeing that too. They're seeing that they need to get the driver interaction back with the crowd and stuff.
Yeah,
get these people that think they've been put up on a pedestal. All these national drivers, show them that they're actually people that you can go up and talk to.
Yes, 100%.
Scott Bloomquist is the biggest one.
Yeah.
He was one that nobody would want to go talk to. Reed walks right up in the street and starts talking to him. Just opens the door and walks right up in there and starts talking to him.
Yeah.
They become real good friends.
Yeah.
So
there's a driver I'm friends with, and you kind of talk with him, and he's kind of you kind of like, okay, you're kind of put off by him at first. Mm-hmm. And I'll walk up to his car and I'll just get in the passenger seat while he's in stage. I'm just like, how's it going? And everyone's like, why did you? And it's just like, yeah, I wanted to get in his car. Why not? And a lot of the drivers, like, if you just walk up to them and act like they are human, it's a very fun interaction. It's very fun. So, and fans really need to appreciate that because they can have that great interaction with drivers.
They need to know that they can go down after races, see this guy. He's going to be somebody can go down and talk to, get his autograph from.
Yeah.
Back in the day, I remember taking pictures down after the races and going up to the drivers and having them sign the little 4x6 pictures you buy up at the photo stand from Evans Photo at the time, and take it down and have them sign. I still got them.
Yeah.
It's just memories that the kids will always have.
Yeah.
As a hero for them.
Absolutely.
That's something Callaway is actually working to bring back this year. So
awesome.
Kind of really wanted practice to work. We had a lot of things planned out there. I still want to get our food drive off. That was important. That was one of my biggest bummer things when I had to cancel practice was we had a big food drive planned, for getting the crowd in there and just giving back to the community. I want to give back to the community. So, that was one of our plans, was to take pictures of all the drivers so that we can have photo albums. I still got it, still got some stuff set up. Unforgotten Shots, and Joshua, he's my man. He took a lot of pictures of our race cars and everybody's race car. So he's still going to come down and do what he can to work his magic, but we will have photo albums of every class, Hornets, B mods, A mods, every class, and there will be a picture of every driver in there. If you don't know the driver, then you don't know who you're looking for. And that's 100%. One of the things I said at the drivers meeting. I don't know if you wouldn't at the drivers meeting. I don't think you would.
I was not, unfortunately.
So one of the things I did say at the drivers meeting is, a driver can walk by their biggest fan, and that driver may not know it, or that kid may not know it. And it'd be even worse if the driver didn't know it and was acting out of character. Or, one of my big things I put out in the Callaway earlier is sportsmanship. I looked up to drivers. If they don't think that people aren't looking up to them, they are. There are kids looking up to every one of us out there. It doesn't matter front, back. A kid might like your car because it's yellow, and you may finish last or next to last every night, but that kid's favorite color is yellow, so they like your car. Or their favorite number is 5, so they like your car. And if you ain't a winner, or somebody like me who's backpack guy, 5th back, I don't take my helmet off, I'm not on victory lane waving, handing a flag to somebody, that kid does not know who Justin Hawkins is unless I have some sort of representation, number on my shirt. Not everybody can afford shirts with their names and their program. So that right there, and you say it on here, promoting drivers themselves. That is something I think is big they've got the trading cards. We ain't talked about that. Lucy's got, but we got to promote the drivers.
Absolutely.
So
yeah, and the first thing I do whenever I bring a new person to the racetrack, doesn't matter. First thing I do is I go, oh, here's my buddy. He races this car in this class. So then when I'm not on the track, they have someone that they can see. Yeah. They know who it is, and they're like, okay, this guy's also doing this as well. Mm-hmm. I have something to root for. Yeah. And whenever I do that, and someone keeps coming to the racetrack, they're like, I want to watch that class because I know this person's in it. I'm cheering for that person. Mm-hmm. So, and I think that's the main thing of keeping people engaged. And whenever I do that, people are they stay engaged and they want to be at the track longer. Yeah. So, yeah.
You don't feel out of place. You got something else you can look forward to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, 2026, obviously, we're very focused on 2026. What does 2027 look like for both tracks? And how are we moving in the future to kind of build that up? First with Justin here.
That's a tough, because,
here, let's start with Chris.
Yeah,
let's piggyback on the answer.
We're going to continue to try to expand. We've got some things in the works we're going to try to do around the racetrack to make it better for everybody. We're going to try to get our catch fence up, try to get a big sprint car show up there.
Awesome.
Our end goal is to have a 2 or 3 day big late model show, or 2 or 3 day World Outlaws or high limit sprint car show, or something like the Harmon they just did up in Peavey.
Yep.
That's what we're going to continue to build on. We'll do the Winter Nationals every year. We'll continue doing that. That's Reed's pride and joy. It may be pardon my language, a shit show at that night, but it usually turns out okay.
Yeah.
But we're going to continue to try to grow and get some bigger shows in there and just hopefully keep this thing going.
So obviously you got big plans for 2027. For 2027, what's kind of the plans there?
So, kind of I paused earlier because I'm a driver and never, I've talked to people throughout this, and never did I picture myself being a promoter.
Yeah.
I did not. I just never in my life could I have thought that I was going to be head of a track ever.
I feel you.
And I know, I've been around racing. I've got pictures of being 5 years old outside Click 95 in Jeff City with my uncle. And nowhere on that in my time of being around racetrack did I say, I'm going to run a track one day. I was going to race. So I like to race, and it's hard. I want to race. I want to get back in the race. I say get back. I want to race, and I'm going to, I'll be at Double X on Sundays because on Friday I'll be, I'm committed to Callaway. Saturday committed to Moberly. So Double X is the next place that I feel like really has that family. The
Yes.
kids. It's my kid's favorite place to go. If I looked at my son and said, "Hey, buddy, we're going to only race one race this weekend: Callaway, Lake, or Double X. Where you want to go?" And he'll tell me Double X. It happened last year. And I ended up in Double X. So I like that atmosphere, and that's where I will be racing this year when I can.
Awesome.
And next year, I really want to get this place up, but I've got Hawkins Motorsports and my son, my family and stuff. My son wants a race, so I got to get focused on that at some point too. So whether it's 2027, 2028, he's only 10 now. We got a couple years, so we could probably hopefully really get Callaway back up and going.
Absolutely.
So
yeah, and you've seen it with I-44 Speedway. Kind of the first year we had he kind of built up the track a little bit, and then now he's kind of focusing on Sam as well, which I love Sam Douglas as well. So it can be done, and I know you're going to do it. So
I think they need to put dirt back on that place.
Well, Chris, we can agree to disagree, and we're not going to have that kind of talk on this podcast. I-44 should stay asphalt.
I've watched asphalt races there, and I've watched dirt races there. So
yes.
It puts on a good show either way.
Oh, yeah. And the thing is, I 100% agree. It's a great asphalt or a great dirt track.
Yeah.
But we need an asphalt track, so we're going to have it asphalt. So, just a general question: what drivers excite you whenever you go and watch a race?
I'll say from my own class, and I said it just the other day because he won at the Lake Saturday night. Tyler Potter. He really is he's a good driver. He's got some skill, and he's just on. I mean, if anybody goes back and watches, and I'm not trying to push the pump. I mean, if anybody goes watch Saturday night, and it's just a smoothness. I don't know about anybody else in the B-Mod class. I watched Tyler because he is. You want to watch the person who's winning the races. You know that if they're winning, obviously they're doing something right. So it excites me to watch him. He doesn't settle. He's not going to settle for second. He's not going to settle for third. I don't care if it's a heat race or a feature. Tyler is going to try to go to the front because that's where he likes to go and where his car likes to go and his team likes to go. So most exciting for me to probably watch, and it's hard sometimes because I'm in the car too. So I think this year that's going to be fun. Just watching Tyler from the booth.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And for you, Chris?
Well, mine will go a little bit different direction than what he just did. I'm going to say my brother. Yeah. I mean, it's a bonding time between us. We love doing it together. That's one of the reasons he's not back in the racing.
Yeah.
Because I haven't had time to help him. But yeah, if I could go back and do everything over again, it wouldn't change anything we did racing wise.
Yeah.
So Chris is over here trying to put the pressure on me.
Hey, and that goes back to the drivers. Like, someone that's racing, or like the most fun thing to do is to watch your brother race or to help out your brother race. And it kind of shows, hey, if I know the driver, if I'm close to the driver, I'm more engaged with that.
You have a better relationship with him.
Yes.
I would do stuff differently on his car just because I would think it improved, not saying I wouldn't do it on everybody's car, but you take a little bit more pride in doing it on his because you're protecting some that you look up to or you enjoy being with.
Yeah. And the thing is, whenever you're working on somebody else's car, you're kind of like, don't really think too much about it. But there's sometimes you work on somebody's car that you really care about. You're like, okay, no, that's not what we need to do. We need to kind of change this. Let me bounce that idea off a few people before we go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely relate on that front. But yeah, so
yeah, I'd say he hit that one on. Definitely trying to pressure me there a little bit, but yeah, just because he knows. But I mean, he went with, like I said, the old school. We got Jamie, and he ain't joking there. I mean, it's some of you guys, and I know you said you're definitely younger, but a lot of you guys missed out. Capital Speedway, and really I say this, when I started, that's what I really tried to mold a lot of Callaway. I know Callaway's their own, it's Callaway Raceway. We're trying to rebrand it, but I've really tried to mold a lot of that around Capital Speedway. And the Howard Hall, Steve Payne, Danny Crane, my uncle, Jamie Carter, Kurt Racker, Bob Tess.
Just the atmosphere after the races, everybody hanging out and having a good time, talking to each other.
Fun.
Yeah. A lot of them still, like Jamie
Turpin.
Jamie, Kurt, Travis, and all them guys, they'll still go on trips together because they made a lifelong bond with the racetrack.
Yeah.
It builds friendships and everything, and stuff you can't find everywhere.
Absolutely.
I think I would take it a step further and say, like, Capital Speedway would have been the most exciting racing I would have ever watched. And if we can bring that back, then I think that's going to be something good. And I think we will. I think that's where we're at.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I think that's a great place to stop. Thank you all for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you all for working together as tracks in the area. I think it's going to be really great to see what 2026 brings for both racetracks and also into the future. So
yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.